Hello TL Travelers and welcome back to the TL Travel YouTube channel. For those of you who are new here, welcome to my channel, and for those of you who are not new here, it's great to see you again. For those of you who do not know, we just got back from a trip. We went to the Netherlands, mostly Amsterdam, and then we also traveled by train to Belgium and checked out the city of Bruges. So because everybody seems to like different aspects of videos when it comes to travel YouTube videos, what I mean to say is that for those of you who really like the sort of cinematic filming, just seeing the sights version of travel videos, I will link all of the videos from my trip in the down bar below so that you can check them out. But I know that there are also a lot of people who prefer the talking portion of things, and while I do talk a little bit in my vlogs, not only was I really sick on this trip, so trying not to talk as much, but I usually try and keep it pretty light and move it along and don't really stop to talk a lot about like what I'm enjoying and what I'm not enjoying and that kind of thing. So this video is specifically for those of you who have requested something like that. So today I'm going to be talking about the Amsterdam, Netherlands portion of our trip and letting you guys know how I felt about it, the pros and cons, what I liked, disliked, any tips that I have for you guys who are going to be heading over there soon. And then in a separate video, I'm going to be talking about the Belgium aspect of the trip, what I liked, disliked, same old, same old, same old. So let's just get that started. So starting with the things that I really enjoyed about Amsterdam, I do want to mention that I have been to Amsterdam before on my very first trip abroad, backpacking trip. So for that trip, we actually camped outside of the city and then trained in every day to explore and did everything on quite a bit more of a budget. Whereas this time around, we're a little bit older, we have different interests, and we're doing it on a bit of a larger budget. So I'm going to be giving you my likes and dislikes based on my experiences on like both ends of the spectrum. So the one thing that I've always really liked about Amsterdam, both the first time that I went and this time around, is just how walkable the city is. There is a lot of transit options that are available to you. They have buses and trams and trains that'll take you outside of the city, as well as obviously taxis and everything to get you around really easily. But the city is so walkable that on a nice day, you can really walk anywhere you want. We didn't stay right in the city center. We stayed like northwest of the center. So Central Station was an easy walk a few blocks away, and then everything else was, I mean, at most 25 to 30 minutes walk, but it's such a nice walk and an easy walk. It's flat, it's great, that we just walked everywhere. I think we only took a cab maybe twice. Along the same lines, something else that I really enjoy about Amsterdam is the amount of walking tours that are available to you. So the first time that we went and I was backpacking, we did a guided city tour of just like the main sites during the day. And then this time around, we did a walking tour at night of the red light district, which was really cool. And there seems to be a ton of different walking tours on offer. And even if you didn't want to necessarily pay for a walking tour or join in a group, it's super easy to just pick up a map with a list of all of the sites and, you know, a breakdown of what everything is and self-guide yourself around the city, you know? What is this? What is this? The third thing that I really enjoy about Amsterdam is just the number of museums and galleries that are available. I am an art major, so obviously I'm a little bit biased, but Derek, for example, is more into like street art and architecture, and there really seems to be a different sort of gallery available for everyone. We went to Rijks this time around and then Van Gogh, which I love Van Gogh, Derek not a big fan of, but they also had a Banksy exhibit going at the Mocha Gallery, Mocha Museum. Regardless, we did that as well and he really enjoyed that. So, you know, there's a give and take as far as if you're traveling with other people, but there always is, but there always seems to be something that everyone can enjoy. Little tip though, because they do sort of change things around and bring pieces in and, you know, send pieces out and exhibits and all that kind of stuff, I would recommend like in the weeks before you go checking to see what kind of exhibits are coming that may not always be there, so that you have a chance to check out something that, you know, would be a little more unique at that time. And then the other thing that I love about the city of Amsterdam, and actually this was Derek's favorite part of that entire portion of the trip, was the ability to just hop on a train, or in our case, we rented a car and go exploring, you know, out in the countryside, check out different little towns and sites and things like that. When it is tulip season, going to see the tulips is something that I would definitely recommend. We were like right before that season, so we got to see like daffodils and where the tulips would be, but I could still definitely get a grasp on how amazing it would be to see the countryside at that time of year. Now on to the negatives. As far as negative things go for Amsterdam, I have to say I am a big fan of that city and I always have been. It was my favorite city stop on my across Europe trip back in the day. So I don't have a lot of negative things to say about it. The only sort of thing that I guess got me or gets me while I'm there is just figuring out the whole bike lane sidewalk situation. Not figuring it out because obviously like the sidewalk is the sidewalk and the bike's bike in the bike lanes. But what I do find is that because the sidewalks have so many obstructions as far as like entranceways into houses and uneven grounds and things to lock your bikes to and all that kind of stuff, you end up sort of like circumnavigating all of those things when you're on the sidewalk. And then the roadway or the bike lanes where the bikes ride look like Canadian, like our designated walking streets. Like if you go to a big city and then there's like a cobblestone designated walking street, it has that feeling to it. So I find for me, like you have to almost be very aware of where you're walking because the bikes aren't gonna stop. And like, I totally get that, you know, like sure, run the tourists down if they're being an idiot. But yeah, I just like, I found myself having to constantly be aware of like, okay, no, this is where bikes go, not where people go. And then my second sort of like, I guess, letdown sort of ish, I don't know, would be the food. And what I have to, so this is what I have to say about food. So if you're going on a backpacker budget and popping in for pub food where it's inexpensive and all that kind of stuff, then it's definitely a disappointment, I find. But I'm a big foodie person. This time around, we did spend the money to do a couple of really nice meals out at different places, and spending that extra money made all of the difference, and they actually ended up being some of our favorite meals of the whole trip. So it really depends on like what kind of a budget you're on. I found like the street food situation, aside from the French fries, because fries are just so damn good, but everything else like not so great. Whereas if you do spend the extra money, do your research and go somewhere nice, you could really, really enjoy yourself. So that is it for me for today and my review, my personal opinion of the way that I felt about the Amsterdam and the Netherlands. I do not want to assume that everyone feels that way. So if you felt differently, feel free to leave it in a kind comment below, because I know that everyone has different interests, that everyone sort of has different takes on things. And I'm always very interested to hear what someone loves about somewhere that I don't love, or vice versa, what people dislike about the places that I do love, because we're all different and let's just embrace that. Okay, if you haven't already hit that subscribe button, definitely do. We post new content every Thursday and Sunday, and we will be heading off to Germany in just a couple of weeks, so you won't want to miss that. And until next time, be sure to stay great and travel safe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys.